On the news tonight, State Deputy Governor advocates for protection of environment. General Manager, Delta Broadcasting Service Asaba reaffirms commitments to training and retraining of staff. Federal government launches artificial intelligence training program for teachers. Abroad, U.S. sides with Russia in UN resolutions on Ukraine. Good evening and welcome to the Delta Television News at 8. I am Ogaga Ikama. The State Deputy Governor, Sir Monday Oyeme, has advocated for the collective responsibility of all in the preservation and protection of the environment for future generations. Sir Oyeme spoke shortly after he engaged in a tree planting exercise and a tour of facilities at the Nelson Mandela Park, Asaba, operated by renowned crusader Sir Newton Jubuno, popularly known as Desert Warrior. Pere Botu has details of the report.
Sir Monday Oyeme, after planting an avocado tree which he named after his last child, Abraham, stressed the importance of collaborative efforts in safeguarding the planet for future generations. Others who also planted trees were the Deputy Chief of Staff, Government House, Sir Ifeanyi Osakwe, named Solomon, while the Executive Assistant to the Governor on Political, Mr. Gode Umbabego, named his tree David. With the tree planting, the Nelson Mandela Gardens got 3 more trees, adding to the beauty and peaceful atmosphere. This is aside other trees and the 95 trees already planted in the African Shaped Garden, which was created in honor of Nelson Mandela, who died at the age of 95. Sir Oyeme stressed the need for individuals, communities, and organizations to work together in addressing environmental challenges, particularly by planting trees to curb desert encroachment. He noted that the environment was the most precious gift to mankind, hence there is a need to preserve it, saying that Nigerians were already feeling the effects of desert encroachment.
And so what this has demonstrated is for us to have an opportunity to see how we can protect our environment, how we can advance our tourism, and how we can project our state, our country, and our continent to the entire world.
The Deputy Governor commended Dr. Newton Jubuno for his efforts in the preservation of the environment through his campaign, Fight Against Desert Encroachment (FADE), and his advocacy for a better and natural environment. On tourism, Sir Oyeme stressed the need for collective efforts to enhance the tourism potentials, as it could also be used in promoting the state, country, and the African continent. Sir Oyeme lauded Dr. Jubuno for his efforts in promoting tourism and the memory of Nelson Mandela. Renowned environmental crusader Sir Newton Jubuno, famously known as the Desert Warrior, explained what led to his expedition across the Sahara Desert and his unwavering resolve to combat desertification and other environmental issues. He advocated planting of trees to combat desertification, adding that he had been on the campaign for over 60 years.
And what's the solution to the encroachment of the desert? Trees, nothing but trees. And the only way we can stop the desert from causing havoc to our nation is by planting trees.
Sir Jubuno said the Nelson Mandela Garden was his own way of preserving his memory and to create a tourist destination in Asaba. Earlier, Ebube Okafo, a tour guide, took the Deputy Governor and his entourage around the garden and facilities. I am Pere Botu reporting.
Meanwhile, the chairman of the Mandela Garden, Dr. Newton Jubuno, has appealed to the state government to increase its efforts at promoting tourism and job creation in the state towards economic development. The chairman of the Nelson Mandela Garden, Dr. Newton Jubuno, also known as the Desert Warrior, made the appeal when he hosted the State Deputy Governor, Sir Monday Oyeme, at the Nelson Mandela Garden, Asaba. Henry Unogwa reports.
Dr. Jubuno described the visit to the Nelson Mandela Garden by the State Deputy Governor, Sir Monday Oyeme, as an avenue to promote tourism in the state, adding that the garden had the potential to attract visitors from within and outside the state. He urged the state government to continue to support tree planting, as it was the only way to promote environmental sustainability, support biodiversity, as well as enhance and protect the ecosystem.
When Nkrumah made a statement that the continent of Africa will remain in darkness until the Sahara Desert is bridged. That was what, I was a graduate student at that time in London, and that was what took my fancy to finding out about the Sahara. Why is it that we are going to remain in darkness unless that Sahara is bridged?
The sales and research manager of the Nelson Mandela Garden, Ms. Oluebube Okafor, who conducted Sir Onyeme and other government officials around the garden, said the establishment sought to honor Nelson Mandela's memory and promote his values of reconciliation, justice, and equality.
Celebrate the person of Nelson Mandela. Sometimes we have spelling bee competitions for schools. If it is based on helping communities, we go around picking deaths around, depending on what Nelson Mandela, because one of the things he stood for was taking care of the environment and education and things that has to do with kids also. Around and view it and see. But here we have a realization where you can just sit around and move around and do whatever you want to do, which is also legal.
The Deputy Governor, Samondo Onyeme, was later presented with an artwork by Dr. Newton Jibno to demonstrate the organization's love and commitment to promoting nature. The Mandela Garden comprises of museum, guest rooms, gazebo bar, children's playground, swimming pool, and the lawn tennis courts, among other realization facilities. Henry Onogwa reporting.
The state governor, the Right Honorable Sheriff Oborevwori, has reaffirmed a strong and independent judiciary is one of the key policies of his MORE agenda. Governor Oborevwori stated this during a valedictory court session held in honor of the retired Justice Ita Mbaba JCA at the Asaba Division of the Court of Appeal in Asaba. The governor, represented by the State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Mr. Ekemejiro Okwagworiole, SAN, emphasized that judicial independence was essential for maintaining peace and justice in the state. He stated that his administration had remained committed to driving progress and development through the MORE agenda, adding that the state was honored to host the retired Justice Ita Mbaba. The governor highlighted significant advancements in the state's judicial system, noting that the government had undertaken initiatives to modernize the sector. In his own remarks, the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Mr. Ekemejiro Okwagworiole, SAN, described the court valedictory session as a solemn and special occasion for reflection and an opportunity to acknowledge the outstanding contributions of those who have dedicated their lives to the legal profession. Justice Ita Mbaba expressed gratitude to Governor Sheriff Oborevwori and the people of Delta State for the cooperation and support he enjoyed while serving. The General Manager of Delta Broadcasting Service, DBS Asaba, Mrs. Christian Jobeme Metulu, has reaffirmed her commitment to training and retraining of staff towards enhancing their productivity. Mrs. Jobeme Metulu reaffirmed this during a capacity workshop for producers and duty continuity announcers of the station. Caroline Obini reports.
Mrs. Jobome Metulu harped on the need for producers and duty continuity announcers to be better equipped to effectively carry out their duties, stressing that they were key factors to evaluating the establishment. She noted that the training would equip the broadcasters with ideas needed in the ever-dynamic world of broadcasting, urging the participants to put away unprofessional arts to move the organization to enviable heights. The general manager said management believed in building the capacity of staff to improve their performances in order to enhance the station's viewership and listeners' strength.
This training is designed generally to improve staff engagement in broadcasting processes, productivity, and overall performance.
A senior special assistant protocol to Governor Sheriff Oborevwori and a veteran broadcaster, Mr. Sami Fejoku urged the participants to always be time conscious and be knowledgeable with happenings in the world to enable them provide their audience with accurate information.
So it's something that we should take very seriously. If a meeting is called for 10 o'clock, you should be here seated waiting for the conveners of the meeting as maybe quarter to the hour.
The resource person and air's broadcaster, Mrs. Stella, only said time was key in broadcasting, urging the participants to be conscious in their activities as the public see them as experts. Mrs. Oli encouraged them to be committed as the training would enable them carry out their work professionally.
And being at alert, wherever place you find yourself, you must be at alert. Be observant, be yourself, be collected.
The workshop climaxed with a question and answer session. Caroline Ubini reporting.
The State Orientation Bureau has solicited the support and partnership of the Chief Advisor to the Governor, Chief Ihoyota Amori, in promoting policies and programs of the state government. The Director General of the Delta State Orientation Bureau, Dr. Fred Ogenesiwe, stated this when he paid the Governor's Chief Advisor a visit in his office in Asaba. Esther Oputa reports.
Chief Amori's appointment as well-deserved, Dr. Ogenesiwe said his wealth of experience would play a great role in his new position as the Chief Advisor to Governor Sheriff Obrewori. He said the whistleblowing policy of the governor was yielding positive results in the area of infrastructural development, adding that the Bureau would soon launch the Delta Value Charter program to create more awareness on the development strides of the state government.
Thank you for all the work that you have done for our party, all the work that you have done for the governor's excellency, both the ones we see and the ones we don't see. But you have that capacity of working in certain ways that people cannot understand. And we know the problems that we have solved for our party and for this government. And you being the chief advisor, we know that the job will be easy for His Excellency the governor.
Reacting, the chief advisor to the governor, Chief Ihoyota Amori, said he was grateful for the visit of the Orientation Bureau head and his management team. Chief Amori commended the programs of the State Orientation Bureau, adding that the just concluded drug-free Delta program was a well-articulated program needed to curb the rising cases of drug abuse in the society.
I am very conscious of what I tell the government. It may not be what pleases me, but like I said, what will ensure that the government is successful in anything he does.
The chief advisor to the governor said the partnership with the Bureau would help to promote the activities of government and enhance the general well-being of Deltans. Esther Oputa reporting.
The chairman of the Delta State Muslim Pilgrims Welfare Board, Alhaji Awalu Tukur, has commended the leadership quality of Governor Sheriff Obrewori in the state. Alhaji Tukur, who gave the commendation in Asaba, said the governor had turned the entire state into a huge construction site. The Muslim Pilgrims Welfare Board chairman observed that since Governor Obrewori assumed office, the state had enjoyed peace and security that had enabled indigenes and non-indigenes to live in peace and pursue their individual business interests with ease. He appreciated the efforts of the governor in keeping the operations of the Delta State Operation Sweep, the state security outfit, and other vigilante groups, noting that the operations of the security outfits had kept hoodlums and other nefarious activities in check. Alhaji Tukur also commended the state governor's disposition in ensuring that people of the different faiths enjoy the freedom of practice without hindrance, culminating in the religious freedom that was second to none in the country. He called on indigenes and non-indigenes, especially members of the Muslim community, to continue to support the governor for more development of the state. The Umutu Council of Chiefs has passed a vote of confidence on the Delta State Oil Producing Areas Development Commission, DESOPADEC, commending the board for its commitment to infrastructural development in the region. The chiefs highlighted the remarkable transformation in their mandate area under the leadership of their representative on the Desopade Governing Board, Mr. Azuka Enebeli, noting that Umutu Kingdom is being impacted with an unprecedented level of development. The representative of Ndokwa Nation on the board of Desopadek, Mr. Azuka Enebeli, inspected 4 ongoing infrastructural projects at Umutu, Ebedai, and Obiariku. At the end of the inspection, the spokesperson of the Umutu Council of Chiefs, Chief Opia Afosos, passed the vote of confidence on behalf of the Council of Chiefs. He commended the State Governor, the Right Honorable Sheriff Oborewori, for providing the necessary support and approvals that had enabled Mr. Enebeli to deliver critical infrastructure to the Ndokwa ethnic nationality. At the Umutu Arcade construction site, Mr. Enebeli commended the contractor for the quality of work done so far, adding that his decision to thoroughly inspect all ongoing projects was as a result of the commitment of Governor Oborewori administration execution of high standards projects in the state. He further described the Umutu Arcade project as the first of its kind in Ndokwa Nation, adding that it would significantly contribute to the economic growth of Umutu Kingdom and enhance revenue generation for the community. The federal government of Nigeria has launched an artificial intelligence training program to equip 6,000 selected senior secondary school teachers across the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. The initiative, organized by the National Senior Secondary Education Commission, seeks to integrate AI into the educational system, enhancing teaching methods and empowering educators with the skills to prepare students for a technology-driven future. At the flag-off ceremony of the training, as well as the unveiling of the minimum standards for senior secondary education in Abuja today, the Minister of Education, Dr. Maruf Alausa, said the program is a landmark in his collective commitment to equipping teachers with the skills necessary to prepare students for the rapidly evolving digital age. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has revealed that approximately 3 million people in the Northwest Geopolitical Zone are struggling with drug addiction. Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the NDLEA, retired Brigadier General Mohammed Marwa, stated this during the flag-off ceremony of the Northwest Geopolitical Zone campaign against illicit drug use in Kaduna. The sensitization campaign, themed "Stop Drug Abuse and Domestic Violence in Our Communities," aims to curb the rising tide of drug abuse and its associated social consequences. The program was initiated by the Speaker of the House of Representatives and organized by the National Orientation Agency, NOA, in collaboration with the NDLEA. Brigadier General Marwa described drug abuse as a major public health crisis that requires urgent collective action. He called on state governments, lawmakers, local authorities, and private stakeholders to collaborate with the NDLEA in finding lasting solutions to the drug crisis. Brigadier General Marwa also urged parents, traditional rulers, religious leaders, and community members to play active roles in drug prevention, rehabilitation, and ensuring that traffickers face justice. In its efforts to combat drug addiction, the NDLEA had established 30 counseling and rehabilitation centers across the country, providing psychosocial interventions, medical care, referrals, and social integration for recovering drugs. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has said the registration period for the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, UTME, which began on February 3, will conclude on March 8, 2025. JAMB ruled out an extension of the registration period, saying the deadline has been communicated in all advertisements and the official calendar for the 2025 UTME exercise. This came as it disclosed that over 1.5 million candidates have successfully registered. The board strongly encouraged candidates to complete their registration as soon as possible, adhering to the established timeline for the 2025 UTME. Still on the news, U.S. sides with Russia in UN resolutions on Ukraine. Details of this and more coming up shortly.
TV doesn't mean buying a new one. Unbelievable, right? But with the new Airtel Smart Router, you can now watch YouTube on any TV, Adults get unlimited data for 30 days to stream thrilling Nollywood movies, catch up on football highlights, and keep your kids engaged with edutainment all on YouTube. With the Airtel Smart Router, everyone gets what they love. Get the Smart Router plus unlimited data for 25,000 Naira. Visit the nearest Airtel shop to get yours. Airtel, a reason to imagine.
Bro, I tell you, this match 3-0. If I win you, something will come out.
Don't play with me. Fast ball. You know what? You don't shot me. Now we got this match.
Keep the banter going with Glow Borrow Me Credit or Data. Dial star 303 hash to borrow airtime or data and pay later.
Is that
Power your relentless ambition with ultra-high-speed data. Glow Unlimited.
Thank you for staying with us on the news. The US has twice sided with Russia in votes at the United Nations to mark the 3rd anniversary of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, highlighting the Trump administration's change of stance on the war. First, the US opposed a European-drafted resolution condemning Moscow's actions and supporting Ukraine's territorial integrity. US voted the same way as Russia and countries including North Korea and Belarus at the UN General Assembly UNGA in New York. It is also noteworthy that the US drafted and voted for a resolution at the UN Security Council which called for an end to the conflict, but contained no criticism of Russia. The Security Council passed the resolution, but two key US allies, the UK and France, abstained after their attempts to amend the wording were vetoed. The UN resolutions were tabled as French President Emmanuel Macron visited President Donald Trump at the White House in an attempt to address their sharp differences over the war. Trump's White House has upended the transatlantic alliance, currying favor with Moscow and casting doubt on America's long-term commitment to European security. The rift was laid bare on the floor of the 193-member UNGA yesterday as US diplomats pushed their limited resolution mourning the loss of life during the Russia-Ukraine conflict and calling for a swift end to it. Meanwhile, European diplomats tabled a more detailed text blaming Russia for its full-scale invasion and supporting Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Let's join our business news desk for happenings in the business sector.
The federal government, through the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, has directed all electricity distribution companies to publish the refunds they have made to customers who purchase meters under the Meter Asset Provider Scheme. The NEC announced this on its social media handles yesterday. Yesterday, the Commission held the first Nigerian electricity supply industry stakeholders meeting in 2025. The MAP framework provides for the provision and maintenance of end-use meters as a service by third-party investors based on which customers benefiting from such meters pay metering service charges. However, consumers groups have complained that the DISCOs have not been consistent in refunding their customers who obtain meters under the MAP scheme. For the sake of transparency and to encourage customers to take part in the scheme, the regulator directed that the details of the refund be made public on their website. With over 7 million unmetered customers, the federal government said it is making efforts to close the metering gap. Pay TV operator MultiChoice Nigeria has announced a 21% increase in the subscription fee for its DSTV compact package raising the price from 15,700 to 19,000 effective March 1, 2025. This latest adjustment follows a similar price hike in May 2024, which the company attributed to inflation and rising operational costs in Nigeria. The announcement has triggered widespread criticism from subscribers, many of whom took to social media to express frustration over frequent price hikes without a corresponding improvement in service quality. In a notice sent to customers yesterday, the company said the price adjustment was part of a review of its pricing structure.
Will face Nigeria's Super Falcons in the final round of the qualifiers for the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations. The Amazons edged past Sierra Leone 5-2 to book a date with the Super Falcons. Benin won the first leg 2-1 at home and then defeated their opponent 3-1 away in the reverse fixture. Both legs of the qualifiers will take place from October 20 to 28, 2025. Benin will host the first leg, while the second will be held in Nigeria. The overall winners will earn a berth at WAFCON 2026. The Super Falcons are the most successful side in the history of the competition with 9 titles. Next is the thought for the day. You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream. To end the news, here again are the main points. The State Deputy Governor, Sir Monday Oyeme, has advocated for the collective responsibility of all in the preservation and protection of the environment for future generations. Sir Oyeme spoke shortly after he engaged in a tree planting exercise and a tour of facilities at the Nelson Mandela Park, Asaba, operated by renowned crusader Sir Newton Jibono, popularly known as Desert Warrior. The General Manager of Delta Broadcasting Service, DBS Asaba, Mrs. Christian Jobame Emetulu, has reaffirmed her commitment to training and retraining of staff towards enhancing their productivity. Mrs. Jobame Emetulu reaffirmed this during a capacity workshop for producers and duty continuity announcers of the station. The federal government of Nigeria has launched an artificial intelligence training program to equip 6,000 selected senior secondary school teachers across the 36 states and the